one of Julian's awesome theories about Tesla and why I think Wall Street is having such a hard time valuing this is, like Elon Musk said, the largest increase in asset value in human history is the second they flip the switch on the over-the-air update and every Tesla on the road can drive itself. Like, this is going to be, so let's talk about this. How do you think Wall Street is pricing in that call option?
I think about it in a fairly basic perspective, like the Tesla core business operations. Because I've been, don't get me wrong, I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to rationalize a 300 billion valuation. 2 weeks later, 380, 400 billion valuation. Like by next week, it could be a 450 valuation.
Right? Like I told all my friends as a joke like a month ago, like if it's 2,000, like then you can call me about whether I'm selling. And it's like every week, and it's like, I'm like, nah, like 3,000, bro. Like,
and these are very rough numbers, but I'm basically like, okay, Tesla's core business operations today, I think a good, decent, fair value for that is about 150 billion.
And you're talking about BEV, like battery electric vehicles without autonomy, just selling electric cars.
Yeah, just their car business, their solar business, their energy business.
Okay.
I think you can pay 150B for that. Now, there's probably a bunch of people who are like, oh, 150B for just that is crazy, but we have to remember that it's like, some of these other auto companies, they have a ton of debt layered in. So, their equity is worthless because of all this debt they've got. But I don't know, if you're a disruptor in an industry, have a super technology, you can attract the best engineers in the world, you're paying a premium for that. Totally. And I'm fine paying 150 for, that core Tesla business. So, how have I been trying to rationalize, the 380 to 400 billion market cap? It's really about this weird call option on autonomy. How much is autonomy worth first to market? Regardless of whether or not you can, you're fully operating, a robo-taxi fleet, like how much is that technology worth? And I think could be worth upwards of, $1 trillion. And this is something that, let's say in a best case scenario, they decide to pull the lever, the 4D rewrite goes well, videos start releasing on YouTube of, the great Tesla owners beta testing this technology.
Yeah.
Cars are taking right turns, they're going around roundabouts, they're doing unprotected left turns. This is all stuff that could happen in the next year.
Yeah,
like,
and then
that's
you don't
not
have to be a rocket scientist to be like,
we're going autonomous, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm like when you have 1,000 people posting videos of like me to work, I didn't touch the car once, like, and I think that's already kind of happening. To your point, is like people like this whole theory of like, a million robo-taxis, every journalist making fun of Elon Musk is now turned into like, wait, like, like journalists can say this is super dumb or not, but like me and my friends are in the Tesla and it's driving itself and it just updated and got better. And I know next weekend I'm inviting my homies over to see how much better it got. Like, people are going to start putting these pieces together on that, like what you said, this like call option of like, well, if Tesla does hit autonomy and they turn on this spigot that could potentially be generating like billions of dollars in profit out of the blue instantly, how do we and like we're trying to wrap our heads around this. Think about Wall Street. This is like technology. This is like the most biggest, I would call it the biggest artificial intelligence project that humans have ever attempted. Is to, we're slowly letting up more and more facets of our society to give up trust and decision making to artificial intelligence algorithms. What are you watching on YouTube? Half of you probably got recommended this by the YouTube AI. You know what I mean? That's a decision of what you're going to watch today. Soon your car, you're not going to make decisions of how it turns and how it drives. We're going to pass that off to the AI. It's one of the most complicated, like, stories of human evolution today and how we're using technology is, are these cars going to drive themselves? Are we going to trust software to do that? And so, just in like a human level, this is such a big thing to wrap your head around, let alone the like Wall Street level of like, let's put out a spreadsheet of how many people are going to adopt this game-changing technology, how fast, what are the profit margins. They just are, they're bewildered. They have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah. I think it's such a powerful technology that it's one of those few technologies that's like, if it's figured out, like monetization is going to come afterwards and like cash flows will be there. Where this is all going is like from a very basic perspective, it's like, let's say very rough numbers, autonomy in itself is like a $1 trillion opportunity. The way that I think about it personally is I'm paying at let's call it at 400 billion, I'm paying, you know, this 15 to 20% expected probability that they figure it out and are first to market.
Right? And so that's the interesting part.
And so it's like, is, you know, what is the probability Elon figures it out? Is it 20%? Is it 50? Is it 10? Is it 5? That's what the market's here to decide.
And you know the stock it's not going to be at 150 billion and they turn on the switch and it's worth 2 trillion the next day. This is going to bleed into the stock price. Yeah. So now the question is how much bleeding into the stock price is due to this autonomy, you know, switch, robotaxi switch turning on, and how accurate is that pricing relative to the reality of the probabilities. And what's interesting about the reality of the probabilities is every single update, whether it's Dojo, you know, what Julian's talking about, this big new rewrite that Elon Musk is hyping up, you know, every day that goes by, we get closer to that. So, you know, this is that theoretical time back to like Tesla's this crazy value. We don't know what it's worth. It's going up every day. Well, on some level, every single day that technology and software gets better and that the expected probability of Tesla's robotaxi network actually existing going up, then Tesla's equity, you know, the math behind Tesla's equity should, in theory, have it go up. And it's just such a weird thing to fathom. And one of my favorite, like, sort of ideas and terms behind this is this incremental gross margin appreciation, where it's not even just like us calculating it into the value of the company that's going to show up. It's actually the financials today are already showing the value and impact of this self-driving software, because Tesla pays or charges $8,000 for this FSD package, and they're going to keep raising the price of that on the way to getting to full self-driving. So I think this is what the market is sort of puzzle piecing together, is we're not going to get the chance to have that aha moment. The aha moment is a super slow motion aha that has already started. You know what I mean? And so the question is, should they only be pricing in 100 billion of that call option, and is the stock worth 1,200, or should it be 300 billion of that call option and the stock's 3,200? I can't tell you that fair value. Like, I don't even have enough, but you know,
it's almost like a life science company doing drug development. Like, you're going through the FDA trials, and it's like, okay, the FDA permits you to get to the next trial. All of a sudden, your expected probability that you can bring this drug to market, you know, skyrockets. And you'll see these stocks release their press release for the FDA, and it'll go up 20, 50, 100% in a day. And you know, it's a little bit bizarre, but it's kind of like that in a different way, right? You're releasing these software updates very regularly. Owners are starting to post the progress, the videos. There's more data coming to the market about this probability of success reaching autonomy. And I don't know. That's why it's impossible to predict where the stock price is going to be, you know, in the near term, midterm.